Doing good.
Good. What do you would like to talk about today?
Well, let's see. My wife's dad, so my father-in-law, his name's Jeff. My wife's name's Ashley. I'm gonna keep saying that. He came home from Afghanistan. He'd been working there as a contractor, like a machine operator, not like in the armed forces, but he worked on a base. And he's been over there for 9 years, and he's only come back for, a few weeks at a time. And he finally left his job, and now he's back in America. And before he left, he was a big drinker and not good to my wife and my sister-in-law and brother-in-law. And he came back, and everything was going great, but he lives with my sister-in-law in her apartment. Her name's Christy. So he lives with Christy, and he just started drinking all the time, like all day. And that's been hard. He just wakes up, drinks, goes to bed. And he's not like, there are people that, if they drink a lot, they're like kind of nice to hang out with, and they're just silly and have fun. But he's one of those guys that's just he's just a mean kind of, And it was worrying because, he's living with Christy. And, I care about her, and that's not good for her to be around. She's in college,
You feel worried because your brother-in-law came back from Afghanistan, he's here, and he started again drinking.
Yeah, and it all kind of culminated last week when he came over to our place with Christy, and he comes over, and I'm kind of I'm polite, I believe in certain manners and things, and he comes over, and I'm upstairs, taking a shower and getting ready because we're gonna go eat. And he came in, goes right to my fridge, or right to our fridge, and just pours himself a glass of wine and sits down, and I'm not even out there, he didn't even ask. It's not a big deal, but it's kind of disrespectful, And so Ashley gets home from work. She works day job, and she gets home, and they ask me up to the bathroom. They're like, we, in so many words, they're like, we want to have an intervention. So, okay. Thought we were just gonna go eat, but all right. So they go down there and they do the intervention thing and tell them how they feel. You're drinking and you're not very nice, and he just wasn't open to it at all.
What's your relationship like with your father-in-law?
I mean, I don't mind him. He's all right to talk to. He's good to talk to. If I ran into him somewhere, he'd be all right to talk to and everything. I don't like a lot of things that he does. But the important thing is he's my father-in-law, and it makes my family happy that I'm, okay with him, and I am. But I don't know him all that well, really. I only know, what they've told me, and I've met him maybe, I can count on one hand how many times I've met with him, and spoken with him. So Not really all that close. I'm much closer to, you know, the daughters, of course. I used to help take care of Christy. But I've felt angry at him before because in the past he's done some pretty terrible things.
So on one hand, you really angry the behavior that he's showing your father-in-law. On the other hand, you still respect him as a father-in-law. How's that go together? What's your sense of that?
Well, that's, yeah, I respect him in a way, but not that much. I wouldn't respect him like say, girlfriends that I had in the past. You know, their fathers were always like a, you know, person to please, I guess you could say, like, you know, respect and all that. But him, on the other hand, like, I would have liked to ask him if I could marry his daughter, but I really didn't feel like he deserved my asking, because he's really not much of a father. So, but I do respect him in other ways, you know, like, he's a man, you know, he's been working, he does well for himself in that way, and he's done what he can, you know, so I respect him in that way.
How does the drinking problem that your father-in-law has impact your relationship with your wife?
It stresses us out, and, you know, stress between us always leads to, you know, misunderstanding each other because we deal with stress differently, you know. Where I get really quiet, she gets really super active and really, you know, we're just edgy. Both of us are edgy in our own way.
Mm-hmm.
And so that it can create conflict here and there, but I mean, otherwise it's hard for us to concentrate on our lives when this kind of stuff is going on. And it's, you know, he's only been home for a month. It's kind of, you know, we thought, you know, he'd come home and he'd help take care of Christy, and he was gonna, you know, he was gonna go on the straight and narrow, and it's like, what the, okay, you know.
You feel disappointed because your father-in-law went back to drinking, and that's not something that you've been expected to happen as he comes back home.
That's exactly what I said when both Christy and Ashley asked me, how do you feel, you know, after the whole intervention thing happened? And I was like, I'm just disappointed. That's exactly what I said. And yeah, that's like exactly how I feel. It's disappointing, and it comes at just the totally wrong time. Like, Christy's doing well in school, and she was taking MMA class, you know, mixed martial arts classes, and she was loving that, you know, getting out, you know, which is hard for her because she has a lot of mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
So she's been doing great, you know. Problems with money, but because her dad pays for a lot of stuff, but it's just like, man, what are you doing? Everything's going fine. Yeah, disappointed. That's right on. But after the intervention thing, it continued into dinner. He continued to drink, and it eventually led to my wife calling him an asshole and telling him that she didn't want to talk to him. So we rode the train there, and he stumbled back, followed us to the train. But he called her yesterday and apologized. And he hasn't drank, to our knowledge, since then. So let's see what's going on there. But it's like Ashley said, she's like, well, I said, how do you feel about him, like, apologizing? And she said, she's like, well, that's nice, I'm glad he said something, it's better than nothing, or avoiding it. But actions speak louder than words, so we'll see how it goes.
So you feel you turn apart between having your own family, Ashley, and dealing with her father as he, keeps drinking and. Is that what you feel?
Yeah. And it's like, it's not only torn because of that, it's like, because we have really busy lives. Like I go to school, I go to work, during the day I'm at school, in the evening I'm at work. She works during the day, and then she does online school, Minnesota School of Business. She does that full time somehow. I don't even know how she does that, but and then on top of that, it's like my mom just got divorced from my stepdad. I don't even know what to call him anymore. And then she moved out with my little sister, so that's going on. And it's just a lot of stuff. Kind of, tears you up a little bit. It's like, what do I do? Yeah.
You feel overwhelmed because there are a lot of things going on in your family, and it's hard for you to balance them out.
Yeah, and it makes it really hard to like focus on any one particular thing. And then at work, I don't really worry about it very much because just go to work, then leave. But yeah, and it just takes attention away from school. And, what do I do with this? I always just want to fix it so we can keep doing our normal thing.
You mentioned that the frustration you're having on the side from your father-in-law in your family had interfered your daily life. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah. I have struggled with, like mental illness for most of my life. So I have a really severe anxiety disorder. So when too many things are piled on top of each other, it really adds up, like in my head. It's a problem that I continue to like deal with. And, I have therapy and things like that, but it like really interferes. It makes it difficult for me to function. Like even just waking up on time gets harder because I don't know when to go to bed because I'm up thinking, that kind of thing. Yeah. So, it interferes, yeah, because, and not just that, it's, there's not very much room inside my daily life for extra things that are really serious. And I'm always there to help people, don't get me wrong. It's just, there's not a whole lot of time in there. I'm either at school or work, basically. And when I'm not doing either of those things, it's kind of nice just to hang out.
I noticed that you are talking about how hard is it it for you to manage when all these problems pile up in your life? But you're talking to me about that. How does that feel to you, talking to me about it?
It feels good to talk about it. You know, I've talked to Ashley about it, but you know, it's nice to talk to somebody that isn't, you know, like super close to me, you know, that I don't see every day. So it's nice to get like someone else's input, you know, just, you know, someone outside.
This could be totally off, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I am taking 21 credits this semester, and I usually take care of my family in back home, my mother, and I work for like 4 days. I'm at school, 3 days I work for over 30 hours, and I feel overwhelmed that I get to do a lot, and it just makes me like, oh, okay, it's just too much to handle for this time, you know, the semester that I am in. How did that resonate to your situation now?
That's pretty much the same. Yeah, I mean, in so many ways, it's a lot of school and a lot of work. Yeah, and it's basically the same. Yeah, I mean, you know, there's only so much time in a day where you can spend not taking care of yourself, I guess. Because when I'm at school, you know, I'm at school. When I'm at work, I'm at work. So the times that I do get to be just out, not having any obligations, it'd be kind of nice just to be able to maintain myself, you know, not have to have an intervention or a crisis of some kind, you know, because then that starts to add up after a while. I kind of feel like, man, I haven't had like a nice dinner in, you know, a month, you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's pretty similar.
So today we talked about how after your father-in-law came back from Afghanistan and he had a history of drinking, but after 9 years now he started again. It seems that sometimes he's not drinking, and you and your wife and your sister established some interventions for him, and it just makes you really feel frustrated sometimes and disappointed. And how is that like overall recovered today?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I yeah.
So,
sure.
how are you feeling now? Talking about all this.
I feel better about it. Yeah, just talking about it's nice.
That's good. We'll see you in the next session.
Yeah.